welcome to the last day of the AESA Annual Conference. I'm John Sheldall, and I'm the President of the AESA Executive Council and Chief Administrator for Heartland AEA in Johnston, Iowa. There's no doubt that this year's conference has certainly had a different feel to it. Being virtual is not exactly what I expected during my year as President of the Council. And like all of you, I certainly miss networking and seeing my good friends and colleagues from across the country. I like to look at the bright side of things, though, and in doing so, I have to say that I've really enjoyed our keynotes and, as usual, learning from my colleagues during some of the great breakout sessions. It's now time for us to recognize one of our members who has done extraordinary research in the Educational Service Agency area. Each year, AESA recognizes ESA leaders who deserve national recognition. It's my honor to recognize the 2020 ERobert Stevens Award winner. Bob Stevens was a personal and professional friend of mine. He was often called the grandfather of ESAs. He wrote the original legislative language that created the first ESA system in my home state of Iowa back in 1975. His primary research and development work focused on educational service agencies and rural education. Although he retired as an emeritus professor from the University of Maryland in 1994, his research and writing continued, often focusing on the work of ESAs. Bob was a great supporter of the AEAs in Iowa and ESAs throughout the country. He continued his involvement with the AESA until his passing in 2017. The ERobert Stevens Award acknowledges contributions that advance an understanding of regional educational agencies through research, writing, or publication at the regional, state, and national level. And now here's our Executive Director, Dr. Joan Wade, who will announce this year's award recipient.
Thank you, John. It is indeed my honor and my privilege to present the ERobert Stevens Award to Dr. Sheldon Smith, Assistant Superintendent for Business Services at the San Luis Obispo County Office of Education. Dr. Smith is also the chair of the Business Advisory Services. He authored the 2019 Emergency Recovery Guide for California County Offices of Education, and he played an integral role in the research, the creation, and the development of this guide. As part of his research, Dr. Smith solicited input from the California Department of Education, the California Office of Emergency Services, and other education stakeholders. The guide is now used statewide by the California Offices of Education to provide direction and offer support in decision-making in large-scale emergencies. The plaque that Dr. Smith will receive states, "The Association of Educational Service Agencies presents the ERobert Stevens Award to Dr. Sheldon Smith in recognition of his research in advancing an understanding of educational service agencies at the regional, state, and national levels, 2020. Dr. Smith, we congratulate you. We are so proud of the work that you have done, and we would like to honor you with the award.
Oh, thank you. This is certainly a career highlight, and certainly caught me a little bit by surprise, because in my mind, doing these kinds of publications are something that, as education service agencies, this is what we're supposed to do. So this is, I'm truly grateful for the distinction. I've come to learn in my 30 years in education that school administrator school doesn't teach you everything, and especially in the area of emergency management. So this guide came together as a result of our experiences with California earthquakes and rebuilding schools while working with FEMA. And as well as our county has the last functional nuclear power plant in California, complete with the FEMA graded drills that we do every other year, which includes mobilizing schools. But it's a drill. We don't actually do that, but we walk through the process. So taking those experiences, and then starting in 2017 or so, was the advent of these large California wildfires. And it became evident that other county offices in California needed help and direction insofar as working with FEMA, especially in the area of emergency recovery. So that's was pretty much the genesis of this guide. Is although I have sort of the dead tree version here, it's really a PDF. The whole idea is that has a table of contents which is clickable, that it is color-coded. It's color-coded yellow for before an event, color-coded red for during an event, and then color-coded green for after an event. And for the ones who used to teach English, like myself, this is just like teaching plot. It's conflict, climax, and resolution. This is broken up in exactly the same way, such that it could be referenced at the time it needs referencing, and that it has a lot of white space. It's a series of lists. There's not a lot of running text, and that's because in the course of an event, you don't want to be having to read through paragraphs to find out what it is you need to know. It's very much in an emergency management format. Although this is written initially it was written for a California audience, the concepts in here very much generalized to any other kind of emergency event. One of the things that became very apparent to us is that emergency recovery and working with FEMA starts at the onset of the emergency. Most people don't realize that, hence the reason for the guide. This guide is also modular in that as we learn more, we can add other sections. As a result of the public safety power shutoffs we've experienced in these last 2 years, we've added an annex just related to proactive power shutoffs. This one is color-coded blue for electricity, and it's intended to go in the back. Right. So it's, again, this is, in my mind, the things that offices like ours are supposed to do. This is very much a surprise, but it's certainly a career highlight, and even accepting this in the midst of Zoom land just adds to the event. So I'd like to thank AESA, thanks CESA, the California Association for the distinction, and then the committee I work with, the BASC Emergency Recovery Committee, because this was very much a team effort. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.